Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's nice to see you all, and I feel like I should start by apologizing for the time I was supposed to be here last time. And I got the phone call, and I said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm at a Starbucks." Why? Well, you're supposed to be down here talking. Woo. That's one of those unsettling things that happens, spoils the cup of coffee for sure. And so I just want to apologize for that oversight on my part. And I understand it turned out to be a great service anyway, so I won't take any credit for it.
It was great.
Yes, and that's how it happens sometimes.
It was all your fault.
Well, I won't take credit for it if you don't blame me for it. So let me see if I can find the reading I wanted to do for us. It's great to be back here. It's nice to see familiar faces and some new faces and faces of friends that I haven't seen in a while. This is from our hymnal, Words and Deeds of Prophetic Women and Men. If you want to follow along, it's about commitment. It's a quote from Dorothy Day. If not, I'll just read it here.
What number?
560. People say, what is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts and words and deeds is like that. No one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do. So a couple of weeks ago, I was scheduled to speak in Clarksville, and I actually showed up. I was there. It's a regular speaking engagement that I have every other week. And I take the opportunity on the drive often to call friends of mine back in South Louisiana, because that's where I'm from, and I haven't seen some of those folks in some time, many years, but I keep in touch with them on the phone, and that's a perfect time, that drive time, for me to call and check in. And it just so happened I was talking to a friend of mine in Baton Rouge around 9:30 a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "You're not going to believe," he called me, he said, "You're not going to believe what just happened. There were just 7 police shot." And he said, "I'm done with this. I tell you what I'm doing right now, Monday, I'm going out and getting a couple guns, and if anybody comes in my house, I'm going to waste them." This is not the guy I know, but he's scared because what had just happened had happened within a mile of his house, within a couple of miles of my mom's house, and it was very personal. And I can remember talking to him. This is a person who is very engaged in his faith community. He's raised Catholic, and he's very active in the Catholic community there. Small business owner, well-educated man. He's a chemical engineer, very involved in social justice in Baton Rouge. And if this is the person that's responding that way, it's unnerving to me. It scared me. I started thinking about ways I could change his thought process. And I realized there's not much I can do. But I have that ongoing struggle about changing the nature of a relationship. My partner, my friends, if they would act a certain way and think a certain way, things would be infinitely better. At work, I don't know if anybody's ever done this. You don't have to raise your hand if you do. But at work, if we would just do it this way, it would be so much better.
Amen.
But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because of the knucklehead in charge. If they'd let me do it, it would be much better. I have 14-year-old twins, a boy and a girl. who have their own ideas about certain things, about clothes and homework and the house and various things that I think should be different. And they're turning into spiritual teachers to me. Because I believe if they would just do what I tell them to do and think the way I think they should think, their lives will be significantly better, and so will mine. And I'm going to plead guilty to thinking the same thing about our country right now and our political process. If we would just do this, if we would just not have to listen to that guy, if we would hear more from them, things would be infinitely better for everybody. Why can't everybody else see what I see? Because, frankly, I know everything there is to know. And I know what's best for me and mine. And you and yours. And they and theirs. When I'm in that mindset, I need to be wearing a sign that says, "This way to madness." Because, truth be told, when I think I've got every answer, if people would just listen, I'm in a constant state of discontent. A friend of mine says when he gets to that place, he develops a case of the phonelies. I said, "What is that?" He goes, "Well, it's when you're going, if only they would do it this way. If only they would do it that way, things would get much better." And he said, when I'm in a bad place, I know I'm suffering a case of the phonelies. Mea culpa, I understand that. I do work at Cumberland Heights, an alcohol and drug treatment center in Nashville. I've been there as a counselor for years now, and just recently they have asked me to take a position basically as a chaplain there, which I'll be doing in the next couple of weeks. And I share that to say, the older I get and the longer I am around the recovery community, the more I see recovery principles as appropriate to everyday life and living for almost everybody. I want to share a reading out of one of the books, The 12 and 12, written by Bill Wilson, one of the founders. He writes, "Living upon a basis of unsatisfied demands and unmet expectations, we were in a state of continual disturbance and frustration. Therefore, no peace was to be had unless we could find a means of reducing these demands." No peace, no sense of contentment, no sense of being settled until I could figure out a way, or someone could teach me a way of letting go of these demands of mine, these expectations of mine. So I know, talking to a group of Unitarian Universalists, when I say the word God, there's probably about as many people in here, that many different responses to that word. But one of the things I've been taught in the process of recovery is I need to let go and let God. Now, I grew up in a Southern Baptist church. The concept I had as a kid of God is very different than the one I have now. And one that works for me very well now is G-O-D, capital G, period, capital O, period, capital D, period, good orderly direction. Because then it takes a little bit more Buddhist slant. That the universe is operating quite well without me, although it may not seem like it at times. I'm supposed to do what I can do and then let go of the outcomes. Does anybody else struggle with doing what I can do and then holding on to the outcomes? See, there's this idea that I'm supposed to do what I can do, but I'm supposed to pray about it, and then somehow things are supposed to work out. Now, I don't subscribe to the idea that you just pray and sit back. I love that Russian saying that when you're in the lifeboat, you pray as hard as you can, but you keep rowing toward the shore. That makes sense to me. And so what I've concluded is that for peace of mind, I need to resign as general manager of the universe. Why are you laughing? You're not satisfied with what I'm doing so far. For peace of mind, I need to resign as general manager of the universe. I found a quote that said, willfulness must give way to willingness and surrender. Mastery must yield to mystery. That resonates. That makes sense. So I get to a place where I say, this is all about acceptance and surrender. If I want to have peace, I need to accept. And think in that very Buddhist way, everything is as it should be. It's the only way it could be. Chop wood, carry water, do what you're supposed to do. Everything is as it should be. Oh, that feels better. I can breathe into that. And I sit in that. Everything is as it should be. And there's a part of me that goes, no, it's not. No, it's not. And now I'm all riled up again. Because it's not. What if Martin Luther King Jr. had said, the world is as it is, and just sat back? Well, what about the suffragettes that said, no, wait, it's all men and women are created equal. Women should be able to vote. What if they'd stepped back and said, no, it's fine the way it is? Or Gandhi. Or any of the other people that have made such a difference over the course of human history. And then as a Unitarian Universalist, I feel like there's a certain underlying cause to action for us. You look back over the course of the history of our country, when you talk about education reform and healthcare reform and the abolitionists and the civil rights workers and the environmentalists, so many are based, so many were Unitarians or Universalists. They felt that call. So here's the tension for me. How do I sit in peace and accept when over here I realize there's so much work to be done? That things aren't the way they should be. They can always be better. Come to my house and look at it right now. I will prove that point. It could be much better and neater and cleaner. But that's the tension that I struggle with. That trying to remain peaceful and calm while also recognizing I'm called to action because things aren't really the way they could be. The doors of change don't open unless you push on them a little bit. And that's where I struggle. I want to push. I just don't know how hard. And I don't know when to stop. And there must be some answer in that tension. I want to push. I want the doors of change to open. But I need to recognize how hard to push and when to stop. The word humility comes into play here. Not that I'm walking around as a humble person, but as I understand the word humility, it means being right-sized. I'm not all that, and I don't have all the answers, but I'm not this small and can't contribute in my own way. My challenge is to claim myself and be right-sized. Not too big, not too small. Because when I go to bed at night, it's much easier to sleep when I've done everything I can do at my size. Yeah. When I gave this talk a couple of weeks ago, just before I began, a young woman had walked up to our chalice and said, you know, she's very soft-spoken. When my cup is empty, because I've given everything I have, I need you to help me fill it up faster than it's emptying. And she probably took a moment to almost look at every single person in the eyes. I need you to help me fill up my cup faster than it empties, because when I'm giving my all, my cup empties pretty quickly. I can't refill it on my own. Boy, did I need to hear that after talking to my friend who was so agitated and so scared and ready to go buy his guns and take on anybody that walked into his house. So, there seems to be some part of the answer and a couple ideas here. One, personally, you may disagree. I don't think this is as good as it gets. I think, in fact, there's great opportunity for change and improvement in multiple areas in our culture. So I am called to action. Because I don't know about you guys, but if I sit back and I don't act, I start to feel like that guy who sits on his porch and hollers at the kids, "Get out of my yard!" Just an old crabby guy. I'm not doing anything. I'm just complaining and pointing out things that should be different. I have to take action. But I remember being here having a similar presentation one time in the talk back afterwards. John said, "Stan, you know, you talk about changing the world for the better. Sometimes it's all I can do to change myself for the better." Oof. That gets right to the grit of it. What am I doing today to improve my ability to make a difference? For me, that means acknowledging that I need some help, that I need perspective that I don't have on my own. I need the collective wisdom of my spiritual community to help me see the way, to help me see what size I really am. Because left to my own devices, I may think I'm much smaller than I really am, or I may be inclined to think I'm much bigger than I really am. I need community, spiritual community, to help fill my cup, but also help me move forward with humility. Abraham Lincoln said something to this effect: "I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I'm not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live up to what life and light I have to offer." That grabs me. That sustains me. The Special Olympics have a motto. It says, "Let me win But if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. That resonates so much with where I feel I am today. Let me be brave in the attempt. With the help of good, orderly direction, with the support and guidance I receive from my spiritual community, with some courage, and with a sense of being called to make a difference, I can take one more step each day, and then take one more step.